What is that one trick that they really don't want you to know? Serious. Many stores have rules that prohibit employees from confronting someone they think to be a shoplifter. I've never shoplifted, but I had friends who took advantage of this. Don't do this, by the way. My friends eventually got arrested. My store does this. As a cashier, I am not allowed to confront a shoplifter. Even if I have proof, I am only allowed to call a manager and hope that asset security is on point. What I can do is point out the item innocuously if it's in sight. 10 times out of 10 the customer will either give it to me to scan and say it slipped their mind, or say that they decided they didn't want it. If you bought something at a store and it goes on sale afterward but the store says they do not do price adjustments, buy another one and then return it using the original receipt. Within reason. I once had a customer buy a patio set for $300. 00 at the beginning of the season. 4 months later, she see we put the last set on sale for $75 and insisted we refund the difference to her. My manager very politely told her no. She then wanted to return the set and get a full refund, probably hoping she could buy it back at $75. Yeah. It needed the all-important within the refund period, which tends to only be 30. Even 15 days on a lot of non-perishable items. Buying a car. Always do negotiating via email or phone and bounce offers back and forth against competing dealers. Will always get you the best possible deal. This works. It will also probably make multiple salespeople miserable. Haha. My manager gave me so much tea if I had a customer doing this, as it was my fault for not being able to get them through the door. To be honest, he rarely would play ball. No quotes over the phone or email. When he did, the customer usually got a great deal. Just keep trying different dealerships until one of them cracks. Oh. And be nice to your salesperson as you do, because they're probably having to go to bat for you like whoa. Another car buying tip. If you have USAA, use their car buying service. Super hassle free and they consistently got the lower prices than anyone else no matter how much negotiating went on. You don't actually have to pay the asking price for entry in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. They make it seem like it's the price of admission, but it's really just a suggested donation. They make more money than they need from wealthy donors. When you go to pay admission, just give them $1. Browse incognito to get past a paywall news website. Only works where you are allowed X articles per week. Incognito is the news stealing your neighbor's paper off his driveway and then throwing it in the trash. They might not want you to know, but they don't really care either. It's a porous paywall model. They know people can get around the paywall easily, but the hope is that some of those people eventually become subscribers. In NIT's case, they have something like over 1 million digital-only subscriptions, and the model has been working quite well for them. Just keep in mind it costs money to produce the news. If you can afford it, you should consider subscribing to a news outlet you like. Most of the dulling that occurs with cartridge razor blades is not a result of shaving, but rather water being left to evaporate on the blades. I've been using the same cartridge for the past 8 months by running the blades upwards, i.e., opposite the direction you would when shaving, on a towel 15 times after rinsing it off, then blowing on it for a few seconds. 8 months later this blade still barely pulls at all. I have a small mason jar half filled with rubbing alcohol that I swish the blade in after I shave. That drives the water off the blades, and when I put the shaver down, the alcohol then evaporates. Didn't reach your record, but I had a blade cartridge last 5 months. Cleaning the blades with alcohol before using them can cut down on some sorts of skin problems because it kills anything on it before you use it. Speed limits. Many of them are arbitrarily set without an engineered speed study, and are unenforceable as a result. This is very state specific. If you get a ticket, print out your state's laws on setting speed limits. Many of them have a maximum speed for different types of roads, and then require an engineered speed study for lower posted limits. If the posted limit was set without an engineered speed study, It may be unenforceable and you can argue this in court. Essentially, the agency posting the sign may have broken the law. And you broke their law. But only because they broke the higher law first. Then go to your local road agency governing that stretch of road, city, county, state transportation dept, etc. and file a public records request for the engineered speed study on that road. They'll have to respond in writing if they don't have one. Chances are they won't have one. Take the law and their admission they don't have one with you to court and show the judge that the speed limit is unenforceable and that you were driving a reasonable and prudent speed, regardless of what was arbitrarily posted. Source: I'm the engineer for the road depth that would do said speed studies. And we don't do them because then we'd have to raise the speed limits and the politicians don't want us to. If you want to cancel your hotel room last minute, but there's a cancellation fee, call and change your reservation to a few weeks later. Then call later and cancel it. Call around midday to change. Give a legitimate sounding reason, meeting rescheduled, misremembered the flight date, etc. This will, hopefully, ensure the agent doesn't make a note in the internal only notes field. Call back to cancel at least 8 hours later. It's unlikely the hotel has agents on 8+ hour shifts. Source: I used to work at a hotel. Stay date changes are rare. Even for my hotel, which was BioHair. And send up red flags. You want one employee to handle the change and another employee on another shift to handle the cancel. Hotels are notoriously awful at inter-shift communication. When studying for college classes or taking online tests, if you're dishonest, books, Google.com is your friend. Look up your textbook and use the search box to instantly find the page number for whatever it is you're looking for. This saved my ass in both neuroscience and biology. When I would be trying to remember where in these 600+ pages that weird case of hemiplegic neglect had been described. I know. There's an index. But this was almost always faster and more accurate. You can vote while not voting. If you don't like any of the candidates, you can go to the voting area and decline your right to vote. This is called a null ballot and is actually tallied. Scratching things out on the ballot is seen as a void ballot and not tallied. While they do track all of the candidates' votes, they also track null ballots. You can actually force a do-over on the whole electoral process if nobody is able to get a majority because there's too many of these things. Don't be afraid to talk to the paralegal instead of the attorney about your case. Chances are they know more about your case and their fee is most of the time half of the attorney's rates. They just can't give legal advice. Source: it's my job. My rate where I work now is $125 as opposed to the $200 the lawyer charges per hour. My last job, my rate was $65 per hour compared to the $250 the attorney charged. Side note, the attorney handles hundreds of cases versus the delegated cases handled by each paralegal. Compound interest. Investing in relatively low risk investments early, when you are young, and often, consistently over many years, is how to become wealthy. Compound interest is basically free money. Only if you exceed the rate of inflation. If your APR is less than inflation, you lost money. Generally, it's assumed inflation is 3%. If you are acquiring less than 3%, you are losing money by sitting on it. You are allowed to change the contract. It might be a rental agreement, a contract for a new car, for your mortgage, whatever. You are allowed to change the contract. Just line through the parts you don't like. Neatly write in the language you want to be used. And initial and date the change. I did this with an apartment rental agreement once. They didn't want dogs, but the manager agreed to allow an exception for my dog. So I lined through the no pets section of the agreement and added one dog of no more than 35 pounds is allowed. Double quote. I've also done this with a lease agreement for a storefront that I was renting in a shopping mall. Part of the lease agreement stated that if a customer came into the mall due to my store and slipped and fell, hurt himself, or if the customer intentionally defaced the mall while on the way to my store, then I could be liable for all damages to the mall. When I showed the lease agreement to my lawyer, he started laughing, lined out the offending paragraphs and added new language, and we resubmitted the updated contract. When you read over any contract, look at it with an eye to what you would change to make it more fair. Then make those changes. You don't have to turn your leased vehicle back to the dealer at the end of the lease. Our buyout for our last leased car was $14K. We took it to CarMax and they offered $15K. Then I took it to a local place that advertised that they beat CarMax. They asked if I had a CarMax estimate, as I'm sure they just typically add maybe $100, $200 on top of any CarMax offer. I said not yet. I hate that place and wanted to just bring it into you guys first and hopefully avoid CarMax. They offered $15. $900. Sold it to them on the spot and made $1. $900 on a leased car. If a sale is set to end at a specific time of the day, i.e., known of Black Friday, if the store is a national chain, their prices are programmed into the computer. Thus, sometimes the East Coast sales will continue until 3, because it hasn't yet been noon nationwide. I got great prices from Walmart the last few Black Fridays, even though I went in after the sales had supposedly ended. So there wasn't a big rush. Always ask them to ring the price of something before you agree to buy it though. Many small or medium companies that ship goods with UPS or FedEx have very little knowledge of the buying power that they truly have. UPS and FedEx handle the majority of all small parcel shipments in America and are very willing to make adjustments in your rates if you prove yourself to be a consistent source of revenue. I started a logistics position for a considerably sized commercial printer about a year ago. We initially contacted FedEx to renegotiate our rates and now we save about 50 cents per ground package. FedEx completely analyzed our small parcel and freight demands and offered rates that completely eliminated UPS as a competitor. Not a month later, UPS noticed the decline in local revenue that our change in carriers had caused and is now offering us next day rates that absolutely blow FedEx out of the water. I'd highly suggest researching the history of both FedEx and UPS. Definitely one of the more unnoticed rivalries in today's economic landscape. If you buy something second-hand, call into the manufacturer and try and register it. Some companies have extended warranties on some of their products. Source: found a Dyson on the side of the road. It was toast and the motor was smoking. Call Dyson for shits and gigs. Registered it since the previous owner didn't. My downfall was that I told them I was given it and they don't transfer warranties. Thought I was out of luck and put it by the garbage. Got an email about the registration saying I'm the registered owner and have warranty till January. Called in again saying my unit is smoking. They booked a work order for the following day. $500 vacuum for free. TLDR: if you buy something second-hand, check with a manufacturer for registration. Might get free shit. Edit. Words edit too. Proofread when you're posting at 3 AM kids. If you make a hotel reservation with your credit card and it is past the cancellation date, simply don't show up. The hotel will charge your card one night room and tax. Call your credit card company to dispute the charge. You will win 100% of the time as the hotel will have no signature from you or proof you stayed. I've been working with accounting in hotels for a few years, and not one of those hotels has ever won a chargeback on a no-show. In large companies like Best Buy, if you're trying to work around a policy like returning an item past its return policy date, ask to speak to customer service if you're refused. Customer service complaints go to the district managers and store managers do everything in their power to avoid these complaints. Edit. I did not post this comment with the intention of informing people who want to take advantage of the system. Use this information responsibly. Sometimes, an item is defective after its 30-day return policy when it should have lasted much longer. And in that case, it is fair to ask for a refund. Getting refunds on items that are way past their expected lifetime or you have damaged by your own fault isn't acceptable. Not that I can prevent anyone from doing anything with this edit. But I'm getting tons of responses saying how shitty I am for posting this. I don't know if they don't want you to know about this. But here we go. If you're going to make a purchase with an online retailer, it's often worth putting the items in your cart, then leaving the site for a little while. Because some sites will contact you with a special offer or discount code in an attempt to persuade you back into making that purchase you were going to make. Can save you a few bucks. It doesn't always work, but it's often worth attempting, especially with solely online retailers. Several careers are totally or nearly totally unregulated in their qualifications. You can just call yourself a psychic, faith healer, nutritionist, pastor, minister, medium, DJ, or personal trainer, and that's it. For some you'll be found out almost immediately by another professional. But since there's no licensing or required professional certification, there isn't anything they can do about it. For some you can be proven a fraud repeatedly and never face any consequences. And might even solidify your clientele's loyalty with attempts by the man big pharma, Obama, liberals, conservatives, reverse vampires, whoever to stop you. A really cheap way to fly to places that usually cost way more to get to is to buy a cheaper ticket to some other place. Possibly with a different airline. That makes a connection in the airport you want to end up in. So you get off there and just don't get back onto the flight. Some dude got in trouble for making a website that helped people find those flights. You can't check bags though. But that shouldn't be too much of an issue if you really need to be somewhere for cheap. Funny story, I almost screwed my brother this way. He moved to Oregon and we wanted to meet up in Vegas. Oregon to Vegas was more expensive than Oregon to San Diego, CA, with a brief layover in Vegas. So I booked it and told my bro to get off the plane in Vegas. On the way there the flight attendant told him no new passengers coming on in Vegas, so they wouldn't be disembarking. Just a brief stop and maybe some fuel. My brother freaked out. Long story short, something changed and they ended up taxiing to the gate. TLDR, booked bro on hidden layover cheaper flight and he almost ended up in the wrong state. Edit, Redditors have pointed out I made a huge error. I booked my brother a flight with a stopover in Vegas, not a layover. A layover entails a plane switch, so you will 100% get off the plane. With a stopover you run the risk of the plane not stopping or disembarking if no new passengers are booked to get on. Your children's teachers don't want to tell you that they can only fail a certain percentage of their roster. So your little snowflake who is dumb as a post and disruptive and always getting into trouble is being kicked down the road to the next teacher to deal with every year until they get the final kick across the stage to graduate so the school can have high graduation numbers. This makes the administrators look like they are competent. Most of them are not. The teachers look like they are amazing. Some of them still are. And the school look like it's great so everyone can keep their job. Get more cash next year and do the same to the next class. Source. Part of the system. Part of the problem. Grocery stores. Everything in a grocery store is pre-designed to take as much money from you as possible. The bread and milk will be in locations where you have to walk through or around the entire store to get both. The more expensive brands are at eye level. They pay for this privilege. Cereal box characters look downright at children, which connects at a psychological level to make them want more cereal. Checkout lines have candy bars at child-reaching level intentionally. New floor designs are even consulting casinos to no longer have rows and be more maze-like to keep you in the store longer. Flyers mailed to you with your name and address are tailored based on your points card buying patterns. Good smells are intentionally pumped in to make you hungry. The list goes on. Jokes on them when it comes to checkout candy. My 2-year-old has stolen so many candy bars. Even in the cart he can reach them. Then he tucks it into his pocket. Took me a while to figure out where the candy comes from. Now I watch him more when checking out. But he still grabs an M&M every once in a while. Some things are never really on sale. When I worked at a grocery store, the name brand sodas had a very high regular price. Then there would always be a sale on them. The sale might change at times, but the sale price would always be there. The sale price is what the company really meant to charge you anyway. After all, who wants a case of soda for $8? $99 if they can buy it at $5.99 and save $3.00. I have heard that some department stores do this with clothes and other items. A $90 dress that is on sale for $55 was never going to cost $90. You can almost always get a better price for a hotel by going directly to that hotel's website. Expedia, Hotwire, etc. are kind of pointless. Also, you can't get a refund from those sites and you will get the worst room available. Expedia, Hotwire, etc. are kind of pointless. I use them to search hotels in the area and compare. Then pull up the best hotels website. I do that too, but when I select my hotel I email management, they're saying that on Expedia or whatever other site they have a special offer of X% off and I'd be willing to pay directly to them. Without Expedia whatever being the middleman. If he drops that a little more. It works a bunch of times. Off-name and store name brands are not always cheaper. They, at least partially, rely on the misconception that brand name goods are always more expensive to sell things at a higher price. Always check the actual price tag, even if the store brand is on sale. Double quote. I'm very thankful for the price per ounce thing they provide. Makes the math a lot easier if I'm debating between 2 4-packs or 3 3-packs. Until they change the units on you. $0. 12/Oz for the store brand. $0. 88/con for the name brand. That's irritating and I wonder if they do it on purpose. Pressing 0 loads of times during an automated phone robot will put you through to a human at customer services. Works for pretty much any company. It's been my experience that any automatic phone systems with voice recognition software will immediately forward you to a human agent if you swear into the phone. This seems to be true too for a lot of places I call. Sometimes I'll press 0 and it'll continue to repeat itself. But if I tell it to FCK off it immediately brings me to a person. I don't know if it's because I'm cursing at it. Or it just recognizes voice information and forwards me. But it works. Chipotle doesn't care about you trying to rip them off. Yes. We all know that the bowl gives you more and you can get extra of whatever you want. If you're slightly more committed you can get a free water and fill it with soda. Even though they now have a sign on the machine explicitly warning against it. Chipotle doesn't give a single shit. They know you're doing it. And it's been accounted for in the book somewhere. What they do know is that if they let you think you're being sneaky, and you, particularly broke college kids, think that you're gaming the system and coming out ahead, you'll keep coming back again and again. Even with responsibly sourced ingredients. The biggest cost is labor. Especially when 50% of the meal is rice, beans, and tortilla. You could get a burrito the size of a baby. And it wouldn't make a dent in the budget compared to what it costs to have 10 people cook and serve that stuff to you. Edit. Yes, I know. Stealing is bad, MK. All the people saying that have completely missed the point. I felt like this was common sense, but people still get surprised when I tell them this. I worked at an Urban Outfitters and everything that is put out for sale are factory flaws. As in the zipper breaks after using it once. Fabric rips super easily. Shrinks 2 sizes after the first wash, etc. Most of the clothes there will shrink a size down after the first wash. Seems like this happens at a lot of stores. But the return policy is beautiful. Buy a cute dress. It shrinks. Bring it back in. And you can get a full refund with a receipt. Or get store credit without a receipt. Also, all the security tags come off with magnets. Just magnets. I don't like Urban Outfitters. So do what you will with this information. If you want to order a pizza from Domino's and have custom toppings but want it cheaper, go online. Order a Supreme. Remove the toppings and add the ones of your choosing. Chuck in a coupon and you're set. Sauce. Works at Domino's. You can do something similar at Pizza Hut. Every so often they run a large pizza with up to 3 toppings for $10. But specialty pizzas remain at the regular price. But they won't tell you that many specialty pizzas only have 3 toppings. So you can make them yourself. For example, a large Hawaiian pizza comes with ham, pineapple and bacon and is $13.99. But a large with ham, pineapple and bacon is only $10.